In 2017, Volvo Cars will put 100 self-driving cars on the streets of Gothenburg in Sweden, with real customers in the driver's seat. The unique Drive Me project is a part of Volvo Cars' journey towards a crash-free future. Volvo has now designed a complete system solution. Multiple radars, cameras, a laser, and ultrasonic sensors monitor the complete 360 view of the surroundings. A network of computers processes the information, high-performance GPS, and a cloud-based 3D digital map, continuously updated with real-time changes in the traffic environment. If anything fails, there is a backup solution, just like in an aeroplane. This includes vital components such as computers, sensors, steering, and brakes. On the road, the car is able to handle even the most complicated scenarios. The technology is so reliable that the driver can focus on something else without having to pay attention to the traffic. Just like good drivers, potentially critical situations are approached with sensible caution. And in an emergency, the car reacts faster than most humans. When autonomous driving is no longer available due to exceptional weather situations, technical malfunction, or reaching the end of the route, the driver is prompted to take over again. If the driver doesn't take over in time, the car will bring itself to a safe stop. With the Drive Me project, Volvo enters uncharted territory in the field of self-driving cars. Taking the final step to driving safely in real traffic with ordinary people behind the wheel has never been done before. And for drivers, the everyday commute transforms from lost time to quality time, open for work or pleasure. The choice is entirely yours.
For a vehicle to drive itself, it needs to know where it is in the world, and it also needs to know what's around it. Based on these factors, it needs to be able to make smart and safe driving decisions in the real world. And once you get in the car, you start to get a real feel for the way the technology works and what it's like in real driving situations. So there are a few things that have to happen before the car can safely drive itself. First, it has to figure out its location in the world. So we use GPS, but GPS isn't always that accurate, which is why we rely on our other sensors like the laser, which picks up on details in the environment that help us identify our more precise location. So think of the sensors as the car's eyes and ears, but with eyes that can see far off into the distance and 360 degrees around the car. And the great thing about having all these sensors is that they can talk to each other and get cross-checked information about the environment. So while we take in a ton of information using our sensors, it's our software that really processes all of this and differentiates between objects. All these objects are visible on the laptop that the safety drivers use while testing the vehicles. Based on what the vehicle senses and processes, these objects will be represented by different colored boxes. Cyclists will be red, pedestrians yellow, and the vehicles will appear as either green or pink. These boxes demonstrate the processing that takes place within the software. And think about the complexity here. People look different, cars have different shapes and sizes, yet despite these nuances, the software needs to classify these objects appropriately based on factors like their shape, movement pattern, or location. For example, if there's a cyclist in the bike lane, the vehicle understands that this is a cyclist, not another object like a car or a pedestrian, so the cyclist appears as a red box on the safety driver's laptop. And the software can also detect the cyclist's hand signal and yield to them appropriately. When our engineers think about where the car should drive and how, safety is always the top priority. So the vehicle takes into account many things like how close it is to other objects or matching speed with traffic or anticipating other cars cutting in. For example, as a passenger, it can feel a little uncomfortable passing by a large vehicle on the road. Our engineers have taught the software to detect the large vehicles, and the laptop shows them as larger boxes on the screen. As our vehicle passes by a large truck, it will actually keep to the farther side of the lane and give ourselves a little bit more space. We've also taught the vehicle to recognize and navigate through construction zones. The vehicle sensors can spot the orange signs and cones early to alert the car of any lane blockage ahead, and then we can change lanes safely. Another thing that's really important is for the vehicle to drive in a naturalistic way, because when it's natural and the car abides by social norms on the road, it's also safer. For example, at four-way stops, people typically rely on eye contact to communicate whose turn it is, and in our case, the vehicle inches forward into the intersection to indicate its intent. So my role as a safety driver is first and foremost to keep the car, myself, and everyone around me safe. And in addition to keeping the car safe, I also provide detailed feedback to developers and let them know the car does anything that maybe I wouldn't have done personally. Maybe the car wasn't assertive enough in a lane change or wasn't fast enough at a green light. We provide the detailed feedback so they can fine-tune the whole driving experience. By getting out there and driving in the real world, we're getting a better understanding of what exactly it's going to take to improve the safety and comfort and ease of transportation. And that's really what our project's all about.